Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, the 30th of March. This is Dennis Wilburn, the active trend trader. I want to welcome you today to On the Radar live market updates. As people are joining us online, we'll and also it starts showing me that we are up and live. We'll click over and see what we can see. Right now, it is not showing me that I'm live. So what's the market doing to us? Right now, guys, the market is mixed. That is one of those things where, what do you do? Today, the small caps were up nicely, and the some of the other entities, the S&P and the NASDAQ, was in fact down. And so let me go over here, and there we go. So what's that telling us? Basically is that the market is just undecided on which way it wants to go. As we start over here and we'll look at the S&P first, you'll see that we have several. The S&P happens to be the strongest of the entities that we're looking at right now. And the other ones are a little bit weaker. So let's go ahead and I'll take Mr. Handsome off the screen for a second. He'll be back a little bit later. Go ahead and jump in and take a look at what the heck the market is doing. We'll be going into new earnings season for Q2, starting when? Next week. We'll be keeping our eye on what's going on with that. That is one of the patterns that we like to trade with the active trend trading system. Is we have a complete stable of about, I want to say about 30 plus stocks that are great growth stocks that demonstrate and show excellent behavior during earnings. And what are we looking at for those? We're looking at the stock to go onto a pre-earnings run somewhere between 8 to 2 weeks before earnings. And that's why we just pay attention to that. We don't trade every one of those 40 stocks. We'll pick up like 4, 5, or 6 stocks and then go from there. So, okay, let's take a look at the S&P. What's the S&P showing us? Well, from a purely technical standpoint, today's candlestick, today's price range counts as an inside day. After a short uptrend of a couple of days, we now have an inside day. Oftentimes that is looked at as being a negative sign, or that it is a sign of sign that the market may be rolling over. So we'll count that as a bearish signal potentially. And then where might it go from here? If that is a bearish and we drop down from here, we could basically go back to the 34 all the way down to the 50. Right now, you have to remember though, on the S&P, on the daily chart, all the moving averages are stacked to the bullish direction, and also they are basically all pointed up. And so when I say the bullish direction on the stack, it means the shorter term moving averages are above the longer term moving average. So you got the 8 above the 20, above the 34, above the 50. The 200's way down here, a ways away. So we have nothing to say, hey, it's time to get into a short trade, nor is it, do we have anything that's telling us that it's time to jump onto a long position quite yet. Where might I look at potentially jumping on a long position? If we get a pullback into the 8 or the 20, that may give us an opportunity to jump back in. We do know that oftentimes when you have a large candlestick like we had on Friday of last week, that middle third constitutes a pretty good level of support. We'll see if that continues to hold moving into the rest of the week. Remember that this week, what Friday is Friday is Good Friday. the market is closed, and so we will not have a session. And the session that we would do on Thursday normally, well, I'll be doing that for the premium members. It will be right at the 12 noon session. I will have a free session called How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options. They'll go off at 11 o'clock Pacific time on Thursday. So it's the last trading day of the week. Okay, what's going on with the Qs or the Nasdaq? Well, they're having a heck of a hard time getting where? Back above these multiple levels of bearishly stacked. They're stacked in a bearish direction, moving averages. Volume is falling off. Price action's moving sideways. And this could basically, as long as this downtrend takes an effect right there, that downtrend line right there, that line, any type of a work back up into that moving average, into that downtrend line, could offer the opportunity to go short on the particular entity, which is in this case it's the Qs. And so you have a couple of choices. You can either do puts, sell bear call spreads on the Qs, or pick up SQQQ, that is the inverse leverage ETF for the Qs. As you can see, we're just basically it too is in no man's land. And with the volatility that's been in the market for the last little bit, we're basically saying, hey, this could result in whipsaw. And so we're in a bit of a meat grinder, if you will. Checking to see if we have anybody on. See if anybody else is checking online. Okay. If you do check online in the next little bit, and you want us to take a look at a particular stock, please just put the stock in there. So the bright spot of the day for the index has turned out to be what? The Russell. However, did we break back up against back through the downtrending trend line? Answer, no. What do we have? We closed back up above the 50-day moving average right there. However, we are still below the 8, the 34, and the 20-day moving average. When the moving averages turn over like that, you can think of the moving averages being dynamic, either resistance or support. As they start to turn, what happens is those, they function as a catcher. And so if that's the way they're directed, and you come up here, you're expecting them to hit and ricochet, move back down. Sometimes they don't even get all the way up to the moving averages before they roll over and fall, as you can see from yesterday's candlestick. Today's candlestick, we could say that this is a piercing line. At the same time, it's only reversing a 2-day downtrend. Oftentimes with piercing line or any type of candlestick, you get a better feel for it if you're reversing like 3 or 4 days worth of either uptrend and or downtrend. So what am I looking at on the IWM? As you can see, price action closed at 218. The 8-day moving average is down at about 219, and then tomorrow the trend line will be down at about 218.68. We did open up a bear call spread in this credit spread last Friday as we were pushing up towards these highs, and the market makers being really stingy, not taking the value out of those options very quickly. And we have to recognize what we have 2 days left, and so the theta or the time aspect of those options should start draining out fairly quickly come tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on that and see what the index are telling us later on. How did the actually the Dow Jones was down about 100 points. And so of the 4 indexes, while we only track on 3 of them, the S&P, the Russell, and the NASDAQ, if you throw in the Dow, 3 of the 4 were down for the day. So with that, how are we going to trade it through the rest of the week? Just cautiously. We do not have a reversal signal yet on anything. We have not had a absolute 100% reversal on momentum is what we're looking for. And so that's any type of a move back up into the moving averages could be looked at for a potential to go short to the downside with even IWM. What are some, if you watch the opening video or the video that I posted over on Instagram called Reels, you saw that I posted up a trade that our Autopilot members made earlier this week who chose to parallel trade with us. We have 2 parts of the Autopilot trading system. One is leverage ETFs, and the other one is the top 5 growth stocks. Our growth out of the top 5 growth stocks that we put out this week, 3 out of 5 triggered an entry, and we are currently parallel trading with those. We were waiting for a trade on FAS or the XLFs, and we actually got it yesterday, and I showed this to everybody, and okay, and here's the way it worked. Basically, we had a nice TSI crossover. This day right here was Friday of last week. I sent out the Autopilot pre-flight checklist, and I said, okay, if we pull back down slightly below the 8-day moving average, matter of fact, we triggered down at dropped at like $88.95, and then rebounded back through 89.07. That was our trigger to get in. We triggered long on that trade yesterday. We have pushed up a little bit higher today. Still need to take out that high right there. Our upside target on this initial is about between 98 and 100, and the one above that, for which will be about a 17% gain, is about 105, which corresponds to what? A really nice Fibonacci move. And what does that Fibonacci move look like? From there to there. There's the fib and the 1272 fib. It brings us up that 105. And that's our measured target on the first 2, profit target 1, profit target number 2. And then if FAS is going into a longer term move, which we of course want to participate in, then we'll just continue to ride that up and carry a small portion of the position, or we will actually recharge the position and get more shares at the appropriate setup for a longer and a more wealth building type move. One of the things with wealth building, we want to look at not only our compounding factor, so if I can get 10, 15, 20% in a 4 to 6 to 8 week period of time, then I can basically take that and roll into a new position or more of the same with the anticipated move on up. So look at compound 25%, at least 25%, 4 times a year on those strategies. What is that? If you do that, what is it equal to? Well, it gives you a compounded amount for the year of over 100%. So that's what we're targeting with the Autopilot trading system. What else do we have here? Okay. So that's it for FAS. I'm also watching. Boeing's getting a nice move. Kind of keep your eye on Boeing. Boeing will be reporting, early in February, in April. It's hung up right here, but it's got itself back up above the moving averages, and so it is stacked bullishly. It just is having a hard time getting back through that 382. And then one of the other entities that we have been watching is Lululemon. We actually were in a trade on this one a little bit earlier, got stopped out. and we've been watching this as it's coming back, and it was, you know, worth doing a small position in a nice bear call spread, bull call spread. So it was a debit spread is what it was. And now we're waiting to see what's going to happen with earnings. Let's go over here to the after hour period. And as you can see, this is a 30-minute chart. Look at the after hours response, both up down to about 310 and up to about 322. So we'll see how that settles out after the earnings call is over with. If it gets up above 325, I'll be a happy camper. That one last remaining contract that I opened will and hung on to, and, you know, and I'll fess up, I forgot to put my stop loss in, forgot it, and so I just say, hey, let's hold on to this. It's been a wet and wild ride. We took off part of the position for a profit on Monday, and then so this is kind of like a free wheel at it. And again, I need to get the price up above 325 by the end of the week. So that's what we're looking at, Lulu. And we'll see. We'll see if we make it. I'll report to you tomorrow and let you know whether or not we make it. What else? Any other entities that I'm looking for? Has anybody joined us? Okay, no yet. So, oh, I will just leave you with a couple things. I'm keeping my eyeball on Tesla. It was doing a little bit of a reversal today. Really, okay, on the daily chart, that's a really nice pattern. Okay, unfortunately though, we have a bullish engulfing of what? A hammer. Excellent. Price action moved right back up into the 8-day moving average. We do not have a 100% momentum shift yet, but it's something to keep your eyeball on. I'll be looking to do something if we get into the middle third of the candlestick tomorrow, and I'll be looking at towards the end of the day. I am not going to, since this is a on this last downtrend, that's a new low. I'm not going to try to trade the new low. I want to see the momentum shift. Then we can work on it. NEO is another one of those that NIO, again, looking very positive, getting some good traction and good looking green candlesticks, showing that we're approaching the 200-day moving average down here. However, recognize it is below the all of the moving averages except the 200. And so let's see what happens from here. We may go up and bang its head against a downtrend line, and that's fine, and then do a pullback. This would, if in fact it does push up higher from here, this would constitute a higher low. And so we'll keep our eye on that moving forward. And mix in that mix, throw in Ford. Now, Ford, believe it or not, is the most bullish of the indicators. This is a heck of a nice pattern on Ford. TSI has almost ticked up and crossed. Matter of fact, it may have just slightly crossed. Yeah, just slightly. And did we break the downtrend line? You get a little bit more extra today from what you would normally get, but that's okay. Here. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, it did. It has in fact broken out. And so if you're now, Ford is the company that I am doing the Ford Challenge on. That is a covered call type strategy I'm doing with Ford, in that I'm trying to generate $1 per month, and so it's doing weekly spreads, and so I want to generate $1 per month per share. With the eventuality, what I want to do is I want to increase my holding in Ford to about 2,000 shares, and I will, if I can, generate that $1 per month, that'll be an additional $2,000 per month in revenue or income as another income stream. And I'm working this to help out a lot of my fellow, seniors who may have thousands of shares of things like Wells Fargo or some other stock that they may have inherited from their family. A GE, not a lot of movement to it, but it still has weekly options that'll pay you 25, 30, 40 cents per week. And so if we basically just do a compounding of once every 2 weeks on that, that's an excellent opportunity. So I'm keeping my eyeball on Ford. So with that, hey Phil, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. With that, I'm going to call it a day, guys, and just say aloha, God bless, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. And I will get this posted over to YouTube and also onto Facebook, not Facebook, IGTV. So until then, aloha, God bless everybody. And oh, one more thing. Hang loose.